Executive Chef Raynolds had spent most of his adult life in kitchens that never really slept. With a degree from the Culinary Institute of America and years of experience in Paris and New York, he now ran one of the most prominent restaurants in the city. People reserved tables weeks in advance just to taste his tasting menu. Most mornings started before sunrise. He checked produce deliveries, inspected herbs, tasted sauces, updated prep lists. By mid-morning, he was answering emails from suppliers, responding to investors, reviewing social media mentions, and meeting with his sous chefs about the nightly menu. Service was a long, concentrated sprint. Tickets clipped onto the rail in fast little bursts. 2 risotto, 1 roasted carrots, 1 salad. Table 8, no gluten. Table 5 wants to compliment the chef. Chef Raynolds moved through it all with practiced calm, but inside he tracked 100 tiny things at once. Timing, quality, costs, staff, reputation. By the time the last dessert left the pass, his feet felt heavy and his shoulders tight. Tonight, finally, there was no late event, no VIP request. Just his own apartment and the quiet idea of a simple dinner for one. He walked in, dropped his keys in the small bowl by the door, and loosened his collar. The apartment greeted him with soft stillness. No clanging pans, no voices, only the distant hum of the city outside. He switched on the warm light over his small kitchen counter. "What are we cooking tonight, chef?" he murmured to himself. "Something easy, something kind." He opened his fridge and pantry. On the shelves sat a box of good dried pasta, a small bowl of cherry tomatoes, a fresh zucchini, a clove of garlic, a bunch of basil, a lemon, and a small wedge of Parmigiano. Simple, clean ingredients. No meat, no fish, no fuss. He filled a pot with water and set it on the stove. The gas clicked, then caught. While the water warmed, he rinsed the tomatoes and zucchini. The cherry tomatoes rolled under his fingers, shiny and bright. He sliced them in halves, their juice shining on the board. He trimmed the ends of the zucchini and cut it in half lengthwise, then into thin half moons. Each slice fell in a gentle rhythm. The garlic came next. He pressed it under the flat of his knife, peeled it, then chopped it into a fine, fragrant pile. He picked a small handful of basil leaves and stacked them. He rolled them into a loose bundle and sliced them into thin ribbons that curled softly on the board. The water began to murmur, then boil. He threw in a handful of salt, then poured in a portion of pasta, enough for 1 generous serving. The pasta sank and started to swirl slowly. In a wide pan, he added a thin layer of olive oil. The flame beneath it was low and steady. When the oil shimmered, he dropped in the garlic. It hissed lightly and released that warm, familiar scent. He added the zucchini and cherry tomatoes to the pan. A pinch of salt, a twist of black pepper. He stirred slowly, watching the tomatoes soften and the zucchini turn tender while still staying bright. He squeezed in a bit of lemon juice and added a small ladle of the starchy pasta water to the pan. The mixture turned silky and glossy, forming a light sauce without any cream. He checked the pasta. Just shy of al dente. Perfect. He lifted it straight into the pan with the vegetables, letting a bit more of the cooking water follow. With one hand on the handle and the other on a wooden spoon, he tossed everything together. Pasta, zucchini, tomatoes, garlic, lemon. The sauce clung gently to each strand. He added a small splash of olive oil and another twist of pepper, then the basil ribbons. The scent rose up, simple and comforting. No truffle, no caviar, no complex reductions. Just pasta, vegetables, herbs, and care. He shaved a little Parmigiano over the top, letting the flakes melt into the heat. Then he slid the pasta into a warm, shallow bowl. A final drizzle of olive oil, a couple of basil leaves on top, and it was done. He looked at the bowl and felt a quiet, honest satisfaction. This was not a dish for critics or photos. It was for him. He carried the bowl to the small table by the window. On a low shelf sat his record player and a row of worn jazz records he had collected since culinary school. He pulled out an old favourite. A vinyl with gentle piano, warm saxophone and brushes on drums. Soft like a late evening rain. He slid the record from its sleeve, placed it on the turntable and lowered the needle. A soft crackle, then the piano came in, slow and thoughtful, joined by a smooth sax line. The sound filled the room in a relaxed, gentle wave. Chef Raynolds sat down. For a moment, he just listened. The music, the faint city noise outside, the quiet around him. He picked up his fork, twirled a small nest of pasta, catching a piece of zucchini and a half tomato. Steam curled up, carrying the scent of garlic, lemon and basil. He took the first bite. The pasta had a slight bite, the zucchini was tender, the tomato sweet and warm, the basil fresh in the back of his mouth. Simple flavours, balanced and calm. He chewed slowly, letting the notes of the saxophone slide between each breath. His shoulders lowered. The tightness in his jaw faded. Another bite, then another. No rush, no orders to call, no tickets to read. Just one bowl of food that cared for him as much as he cared for every plate at the restaurant. Tonight, Executive Chef Raynolds was not commanding a busy line or impressing a dining room. He was simply one person at a small table, listening to jazz on vinyl, enjoying a simple, meatless dinner for one. And sitting there, with the last forkful of pasta and the saxophone easing into a soft fade, he felt that this was exactly what he needed.